Hello, welcome back to the Honey Podcast. I'm Celine, that's Dani, and we have Jonny with us. Jonny is, I'm not too sure your role, but you are with ESports One, which is a really cool company. They are kind of changing the world with how fantasy gaming is going and making it fantasy esports. And Jonny's going to tell us all about it. We're going to talk about League of Legends. It's going to be a party. But yeah, hi, Jonny.
Hey, we're definitely going to nerd out, that's for sure. So I hope you guys are ready.
We're really good at that.
So
Yeah.
it makes sense you don't really know what my role is because I do a whole lot of things. So ESports One, we're a startup. We're in the esports space. So if you're not familiar with esports, it's the professional video gaming. You can compete online when you're playing by yourself, but these guys and girls are competing online or in person in tournaments that have prize pools or like franchise leagues, a lot like similar to what like traditional sports is, but it's moving into the gaming world, which is really cool. And that was a pretty good pitch, Celine, to be honest. We are a esports company. We specialize in stats and data and analytics, like of the professional gameplay. So similar to what you'd see for the NFL when they're talking about like analyzing Tom Brady's like yards and like his release time. We do that, but for professional video gamers and how they perform. And one thing that we built, which we're really proud of, is a fantasy esports platform. So if you're not familiar with fantasy sports, basically each week you're picking players to feature in your make-believe team. And when they compete in their actual matches on the weekend, your fantasy team scores points. So it makes it a really fun way of watching and following like esports, especially League of Legends is what we focused on first. And the way we do it's a little bit different. So it's in the daily fantasy style. I'll try and not get too into the weeds and confuse everyone, but basically you get like a salary. So, and each week you purchase players that you think are going to do well in the week. And you make your team, and then hopefully you beat other people in the community. You can win some prizes as well, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. I'm a part of your Discord server where you guys like kind of plan, and it's really interesting to see because I'm a noob with League of Legends. So I know the times that I've done it, I'm just like, well, they pick the cute character and this person looks good. I guess I'll pick them. Do you have any like pro tips for if people were to start like picking lineups, or like how do you suggest they go about that?
So I think there's a few different ways. Definitely picking the players that you like the look of is always a very troll way. I think the good thing about the way that we do it, because you get a salary, we also have each player has a price. So, it's easy for you to go on and go, okay, a player that has a really high price, they're probably going to do well this week. It's also like, nothing's locked in. That's the beauty of fantasy. You kind of have to follow along and, make your prediction to see if the player will do well. But, if a player's around $300,000, so you've got a $1.5 million budget that you have 6 spots you have to fill. So do the math because I'm not a math guy.
Me neither.
But that's so bad. Luckily, I'm not in the data team, so they're way smarter than me. But yeah, you basically get to you'll look at a player, and if they're 300,000, it means they're probably going to have a pretty good weekend. They might have consistently performed well, so they're a bit of a safer bet. But also being really expensive, that you need them to perform well. Whereas like, if you're a person that like wants to take a few risks, you can pick players around the $200,000 range, and generally they'll be good, but it's still going into the weekend a bit uncertain how they're going to perform. So the best way to do it is, kind of salary is a good indication. We write some pretty cool articles as well that give you advice. So especially if you're a new player, I would suggest like checking them out. So we've got a awesome team of content writers. We've got Lewis and Jesse, and those guys really do give you like really good really good tips. They do not give you hips, I can confirm that. But yeah, and so that's a good way to start. But Celine, like you said, like Discord's a really good way. You can join our Discord at discord.gg/E1. And basically you can talk to other community members. The thing about our platform, it's competitive, but it's also really community focused. So it makes it a really cool environment. If you're wanting to learn how to play, maybe you don't know League of Legends that well, or you're just wanting to get into esports in general, then you can talk to some like-minded players. And even though like a lot of the guys and girls in there really want to win, they're also like, they'll never not like help you out, because they do like competition as well. So it's a really friendly way to kind of get involved. And I'm in there, so you can literally just reach out. I'll answer like any question. My DM's open. So that's a pretty good way to start.
That's awesome. And I wanted to ask, because I know ESports One, it's still like technically a startup. Like, how do you like that? Like, what are your thoughts about working for a startup? Any tips for someone who might be going into startups? What do you think?
Yeah, it's definitely a really interesting career path. I think you can build up some skills that really make you valuable to other startups going forward. So you can kind of move from startup to startup. Often a perk of being in a startup is getting some sort of equity in the company. So you're getting because you're investing your time into something that's growing and it's not quite certain yet. Some of the kickback is you'll get some shares. So there's always a risk working in startups. They're very challenging. For me, I'm the VP of content, except I will also do a million other jobs. Consider it like maybe like a small business, like a family business, or like, if you worked in a small store and you have to work the registers and you have to do like stock and you have to help the customers. It's similar to that. So yeah, I'll have a set role where I'm, I'm managing the content team. We do like player interviews, we write the advice articles, but then I work with the product team to give some suggestions on, hey, I think the users would really like this feature, or operations, I think we need to hire someone. So I'll do an interview, or I'll actively look for someone. So it is really challenging working for a startup. You have to kind of go in really open-minded and willing to work, because it's a startup and you're only going to get what you put into it. It's a lot less of that kind of that 9-to-5 job where you can go in, go home, and then you can kind of just like clock off. It's a lot harder to clock off in a startup. In saying that, it's a lot more rewarding. One, yeah, the shares are great, but also you're built, you have so much influence in what the company's doing. And for me, like I really enjoy that. And you kind of, what I tell my friends and family, this is really bad advice, so I'm sorry guys, but what I've learned in a startup in 4 years is way more than I learned in college. And I've got a degree and a grad certificate. I'm going for another grad certificate, but even those, like, the startup is it's so fast paced. It's so intricate. You're learning as you go. Even the CEO is always going to learn as they go. There's no manual, like this is the best way to run a business, because all the businesses are different. Your products have to change with whatever your clientele is, whether it's business to business or business to consumer. So there's a lot going on, like marketing, and it's just you get to learn a lot, and you kind of throw yourself in the deep end, I guess. So it's a real hustle, but if you're someone that really likes a challenge and really wants to learn and has the time to invest in something that could be lucrative, or like in the future, then I would say go for it. But it's not a 9-to-5. I do have to warn people. You do tend to work. You can work weekends and stuff, because in the end, no one's going to do your work for you. You got to be the one that kind of shows the initiative. So I would say that's probably is that more scary than exciting?
I think it's super relatable too. What you said is like such an important lesson, a life lesson to learn. Like, you put in what you get out of it. And I think we see that a lot with the Honey Pop as well. Like, because we are a startup, we are like, everything you said was spot on, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys are great. I know a few of your team members, and it is fun. Like, you can tell that everyone really enjoys it over there, and but you work hard and you do a lot of different things. Like I'll be chatting to someone about this, and I'm doing this, but then I've also picked up this, and I'm like, that's nothing. Like that, there's no link between that. But the fact that you have a great team of people that show initiative, that really care about what you're putting out, and the way the content and the site looks. It's like, if you care about what you're doing, it's like it doesn't feel like work as much, right? Even though you are maybe doing a ton of hours and hustling, it's like it's fulfilling. And I think, you know, I see it with your team. You got an awesome team over there. So
Yeah.
Thank you.
with awesome
Anyways,
backgrounds.
love the backgrounds.
A purple
So I
one.
tried to get a background on, except there's like a brown door behind me and I have a brown shirt on, and it made me look like I had like a square head or something. It's really weird. So we had that the right way.
Right.
I know you've been playing, like, I know Esports One is like mainly focused around League of Legends, and you kind of mentioned that you guys are interested in branching into other esports. Like, what paths do you think you'll take, if you can say?
Yeah, so we're definitely looking into a lot of game titles. So what we wanted to do originally was to you know, create a formula that would be scalable to other games. You know, make the site really easy to use. Fantasy is kind of challenging if you've never played it before. So like ease of use is something that's really important for us. In terms of games, we're looking at quite a few different games. We're kind of ready to pull the trigger on a few, but it just depends on what order we want to do. You know, games that we've looked at is like Rocket League. I can't confirm exactly which one we're going to do, but I can tell you the ones that we've looked at, like Rocket League, Counter-Strike, Rainbow Six, Fortnite. And a lot of it's about, you know, it's important to make sure that the fantasy experience feels good with the esports experience, right? Like we do have a formula, but you still want to make sure that, hey, like you're not just dumping one set thing into another set game title and hoping it works for the best. You know, you want to talk to the community. You want to make sure, hey, does the scoring feel right? Like, you know, maybe in Rocket League, you're doing 10 points for a goal. And I mean, without much context, it's not gonna make sense. But they might be like, you know, it's too much. Like there's one player that just scores too much, but you know, there's so many other factors in the game that really make scoring a goal so important. So maybe it's like, you reduce the points of how many you know, how many points a goal would be, and then exchange it to like how many points a successful pass would be. And so like it's all about like kind of scaling out the scoring system, and also just making sure you know, salaries and the kind of the way the format is to feel good, because in the end we're making it for the community, and so we do talk to the community a lot, and that's why, you know, mentioning Discord was perfect for us, because we do use that a lot for feedback. So if you've played fantasy and you're like, hey, I was so confused, or like, oh, I'd really like to see this, and you know, you can always reach out to the team, because we do listen. It's really important to us.
That is awesome.
How is the community? Like, do you find any like negativity in your community, or is it
honestly, our community is amazing. Like it's insane. And I always expect some negativity, you know, when you have an open Discord and anyone can join, you kind of expect that. And especially like a startup, like, you know, our product is pretty good. We're pretty lucky, and our engineering team's awesome. But, you know, sometimes there's a bug that occurs, and that's just part of product development. And our community is so nice. They never rip into us. They always, like, if they spot a bug, like, you know, this isn't working or this isn't showing up, they'll let us know, and then we fix it instantly. So it's kind of like it is a community. It's not just like a bunch of people like chatting. It's like our community is an integral part of what we do, and like, you know, how we run our competitions, and the things that would normally be negative, like, oh, this is annoying, like I can't see the leaderboard or whatever temporarily. Instead, they'll offer us a positive, and to, like, you know, send some help back, because the thing is, if you enjoy playing on a platform, you want it to be perfect, and that's kind of the community is really invested in us, and so we're really invested in the community. But yeah, we really haven't. I mean, you get the occasional like bot spammer that joins a Discord, and just like you see the messaging like, oh sugar, like, or just like someone being, you know, occasionally. I think this only happened once, where like someone was really competitive and got really frustrated that they didn't win. But to be honest, like, we don't, you know, people that are frustrated like that, it's often a lot going on in their lives. So we just I like just DM them, and I had a chat to them like, hey, like, I know it's a competitive game, but in the end, like, it is a game. It's meant to be fun. Like, don't trash other community members. And spoke to them and realized that, you know, they were having some trouble, and like, so we hashed it out, and then they were like an awesome community member after that, super supportive. So I mean, we're not unless they're obviously bots or they're being like extremely like racist or sexist or something, and then we just don't tolerate that. If it's someone that's getting a little bit heated because of the competition, like, you know, we'll talk to them, and most people just want to be heard out, and they do enjoy playing and stuff, so it's like they don't want to be kicked out either. So yeah, so it's, you know, it's like anything, you have to moderate the community to a certain extent, but to be honest, ours kind of self-moderates most of the time. And so we actually are really lucky. I'm very grateful.
That's awesome. I feel like the way you handle it as well is probably like super helpful, like chatting to them on the side and stuff like that. Yeah, that's awesome. So do you see a lot of females in the community?
Yeah, we do. I mean, I think the one thing about Discord, which is good, you know, esports is renowned for a little bit of toxicity, which is super sad. I think you know, the industry as a whole is taking strides, which is really nice. You know, we do have, you know, females that are like, will like let everyone know that they're female. But the good thing about Discord is you can be anonymous. And, you know, sometimes I would have no idea of someone's gender, and honestly, like I don't care, like it doesn't worry me. Like we're a bunch of people, but we definitely do have females involved, because, you know, we'll maybe get onto a game night and then we'll be chatting on, and then obviously you can hear the voice. But the thing is with the community, which, you know, again, we are really like, sexism just like not tolerated, you'll just get banned. Like there's just no place, like and so if someone's like, we've removed a lot of people that have been like that in the past, and so now it's like, the nice thing is you don't think twice when you're playing games. I'm not like, oh, there's a girl, there's a guy, like it's just like everyone's playing. And I think that's really what esports should be, where it's like, it really doesn't matter. You're there for the game, you're there for fantasy. It's not really about who you are, where you're from. I get trolled a lot, but I don't know why. The community trolls me, but that's I give them a pass. But yeah, I think, you know, people are supportive, and I honestly, like, it's been months and months since I've seen like even a sexist comment, which is really nice. Which means that, like, I think the community itself, the conversations, they don't go down like a path like that, and we don't also tolerate it. So if there were any toxic members in the past, they're gone. But I think esports in general, I mean, there's a huge like portion of the esports community that are females, and, you know, I hope that grows. I hope that's something that becomes more and more acceptable. I think there was definitely a stigma growing up that only boys played video games, and like, I don't know, girls played with Barbies or something. I don't know. Even though I had a Barbie when I was younger, but let's not go into that. But I think that's going, and I think just the way that, you know, we are so as a society, like, so technology involved, and especially during like COVID, like we're all at home, so people play games on their mobile, or like they're or on their computers, and they're like, because that's how we're filling time at the moment. I think that kind of, as sad as obviously COVID is, it's like, it's the more and more the society pushes towards like tech environments, the more gaming just feels like it's a natural part of it, and I don't think it becomes less of like a gender stigma kind of thing. So
I think that you saying that, like what you just said, is like awesome for females to hear, because like as someone who's not like really a big gamer, like that would make me feel way more comfortable to like join in and do something like that, because like I feel like you said the stigma around it was always just like so like negative for females. Great to hear that it's not like that anymore.
Well, I mean, it was even like, it was just like the stigma was for like only nerds play it, right? Like, and like this is like, and then nerd is a bad thing, which is like crazy, because most nerds are smarter than everyone else. So yeah, and that's the thing, is I think that like that the fact that computer games in general is mainstream, you know, you get like celebrities playing games, like I mean, like AOC was like had that huge stream. You know, people like Ninja. You know, I'm not a huge Ninja fan, but like I do appreciate, you know, what he's done to gaming, kind of pushed it into the mainstream and in a kind of in a positive light. So I think like the stigma, and the more people start playing games, the more people realize that like being nerdy is cool. Like it's just a personality trait. It's not like a comparison thing. It's just something that, you know, someone that enjoys something that's intellectual. And I think once people like realize how complex these games are, which I think is another part where when people resist esports, I feel like they don't quite understand how like complex these games are and how much like thought and how much like training goes into actually really understanding these games. But no, I think it's good. I think the community will become more and more open. It definitely has a way to go, and there's definitely toxicity in League of Legends. You know, it's hard with these hyper competitive games. Not excusing it, but that when the whole point of the game is you know, a group of people competing against another group of human people, and there's only one winner. It gets frustrating. You know, it gets quite frustrating. It's quite intense. And I think, you know, I definitely was someone that like got really like frustrated. I get quite like, I get angry at myself when I do bad at games. I'm really like self-critical, which is terrible. But you know, I get like frustrated. But then, you know, the thing that I do now is I need to step away. If I'm not looking at the game like it's a game, yes, it's competitive, but if I'm not trying to, you know, become a pro player. I'm way too old for that and too bad. But
you are not bad. You are the carry.
when you're involved in the esports company and you play with a lot of community members, oh my God, there is insane League of Legends players in our community. But yeah, I think a lot of it is I don't know where I was going with that. I lost my train of thought.
You are good.
Yeah, I'm really bad at explaining things, but yeah, I know. Anyway, it'll be good. It'll open up as long as we like reduce some of the toxicity in the games and people start seeing, people start seeing the game as it is a game. It's competitive, but it is a game. If you're frustrated, walk away, because the more you play, the more you're going to lose because you're just going to be frustrated. Exactly. It's like pretty simple. Yeah.
It's all about your attitude as well. Like going into it. But I do agree that the esports community does still have like a long way to go, because I know I game all the time. Like I'm always playing something. So like I know in Fortnite, sometimes if I'm on squads, I can't go into voice chat, because there's been times where I go and say, hey guys, like where are we gonna drop? And then they'll just like leave. They're like, oh, I don't want to play with a girl. They'll like literally say that. And I'm just like, I'm probably better than you.
I feel like it's probably less on you and more on they feel they have issues to perform, which is like a really silly thing to get thing, because it's a game and who cares.
Right.
But you know, it's like a lot of the time, you know, when people get like frustrated or get angry at me, or like, you know, even if it's in a real life situation, or maybe it's at the grocery store, I kind of just rather than I used to just get like quite like frustrated back, or like wanting to like make a comment or something. Now I'm just like, they must be having a bad life, or they must be having a terrible day. Like,
exactly.
It's like, I'm not going to take their emotional burden on. They've got something going on. You know, I just feel it's like sympathy for them. And then at that point, it's like, I just walk away. I'm like, poor dude, you know, in that situation, poor dude. Like, imagine how bad, you know, his day has been, or what's going on in his life. Because if that's like something that means you need to quit the game, like,
there's something deeper going on.
Yeah, it's like, what triggers that? So I think, like, you know, feelings, not that I think we excuse that behavior, because it is horseshit, but from yourself and absorbing that like situation, I would say, you know, it's not good behavior, but they've obviously got something going on, because you know that you're better than them. You don't need to tell them that. You can show them in the game, and if they don't want to stick around to see it, they're probably going to drag you down anyway. Them. So yeah, you probably wanted a better teammate anyway.
Exactly. Speaking of like gaming and stuff, like how long have you been playing League?
Ooh.
Are you one of the OG players?
Yeah, it was weird because I grew up with friends that didn't play video games. I had one that kind of like dabbled in video games, but I always liked them from the start. Like I think I got the first Nintendo, and then the first Game Boy. We shared it with I had two older brothers, and you know, that was our thing. And then our Nintendo got stolen by some neighbors down the street.
Those
assholes. I grew up in a bit of a rough area, but it's like it's a lot cleaner now. But then I got with Super Nintendo. So I think I've been gaming a while, like, but I kind of shifted to PC gaming. I kind of got away from console gaming. I always liked how I liked messing around on computers a lot, and I liked the fact that you have so much control over what you do. And a lot of the games I played were like strategy games, like like Warcraft. I played the first Warcraft, and then no, wait, did I play the first? No, I played the second Warcraft. But those kind of like strategy games where you're controlling a whole army, I really like the feel, and I love fantasy, so I'm like a huge like nerd like that. And then that kind of got me into like playing the more competitive games. Like, you know, I used to go to the LAN cafes to play Counter-Strike, where there'd be all those like, oh man, the photos of those computers now look so awful. They're like just like big boxes. But like going there, and I really loved. It's sad that it's not more of a thing, but like internet cafes was so fun to go and I was always terrible at that, but you know, I was lucky enough to have a computer and like internet and my parents that were like happy, like they were supportive of me gaming, because I also played a ton of sport. So like it offset it, like, and none of my friends like gaming. So they were like, if you game in your time when you're not doing sport or you're not seeing your friends or doing your homework, then you do you.
That's good.
Yeah.
So I've been doing a while, and then I played like Dota, Dota 2. That was probably my most heavily invested game. I've played 4,500 hours of that.
Oh, wow.
Good use of time, not sure. I never cared enough to improve. I would just go in and just like play, and so I never thrived to be that good. And I played World of Warcraft as well. So it was like when I was in like college and stuff, which is a terrible idea as well.
Yeah.
So I have been doing it for a while, and I think like it wasn't really until 2016. I think I'd worked in insurance broking, and then I was like, because esports in Australia was like really new then, and there wasn't any opportunities, so I didn't think of this valid career path, and so I decided to. At that point, I wasn't enjoying insurance, and I'm like, what is this esports thing? I'm like, can I get a job? Like, I'm gonna like just contact some people, and I like basically saw someone on LinkedIn in an esports business group, which is LinkedIn's really good if you're interested in getting to esports. Make a profile, fill it out properly. Don't say you're an esports expert if you're not an esports expert, you know, because that's a massive like turn off. You know, I'd rather someone that loves esports that doesn't maybe know or doesn't have a lot of experience, but has like drive and ambition, than someone that claims they know everything. And like, I don't even consider myself an esports expert. I probably am by this point, but I don't like, I'm still learning, you know, I'm forever learning. I'm actually studying an esports course right now as well and working full time. It's madness. I don't know why I'm doing it, but so I think like, so anyway, I was on a LinkedIn business group, and a guy basically said, hey, I need help on a project. He was in New York. I was in Melbourne, Australia. I'm like, can I apply, or like, can I help you out? And he's like, yeah. And so we spoke on the phone, and I basically did some work remotely with him and another guy, Jordan, who was the first employee in the company. And then, you know, we clicked, and he's like, well, do you want to come over and work for me? And I'm like, okay. And so he sponsored my visa. I went over and, you know, worked with him out of New York. We worked out of an apartment. And for me, I always like, you know, I think it's really important you do something you want to do, something you're passionate about. You know, I think it's always important to make money, but I think it's not at the sacrifice of doing something you enjoy, because if you're going to do it long term, you want to be able to get up for work and be like, hey, you know, I'm really excited to do that today, or like, you know, I'm really looking forward to what we're going to be doing in the next 6 months.
Yeah.
So yeah, like if you're getting up every day and it's like hard to get through, and sometimes, you know, unfortunately situations, people, you know, you need money. I've had times where I've just needed a job, you know, like money was the sole thing. But you know, if you're lucky enough to like do something or have the opportunity to explore other career paths that you'd enjoy more, then I would definitely suggest to go and do it, because esports has been really good. It's been that kind of thing that really, it made sense to me. You know, it's my passion, and I enjoy the work, I enjoy the industry and the people. So it's been I've been a bit lucky there, but it's getting harder to get in. So you gotta work hard now. A lot harder than when I got into it. I got lucky.
How long ago did you get into it?
So I started working for ESports One in, I think, March 2017.
Oh, okay. So it's definitely been a while. Yeah. Even though it doesn't seem like that's far away, I still feel like
no, it doesn't when you think of the years, but like the amount of work, like, you know, saying with startups and like the amount of hours you do, it feels like a lot, but it's really rewarding.
That's awesome.
And so, yeah, I would say if you do have a passion for esports, actually one bit of advice what I would say is like there's a lot of people that want to get in. So you have to really make yourself stand out. And that doesn't necessarily mean you need a ton of experience. You just need to find a way to make yourself stand out. So, we had one employee now who got hired before Christmas, but he came on as an intern because he basically pitched us a podcast idea out of nowhere. Like we weren't hiring, he pitched us a podcast idea. And then that kind of got our interest. And then we started speaking to him and realized he's got a lot of skills that we're after. And like, he would actually solve a lot of problems for us. And so I think that's for a lot of esports companies, you maybe, if you're wanting to get in, just kind of shoot your shot, make yourself stand out. I think there was that guy for 100 Thieves that wanted to be a social media manager, and he did this whole like insane graphical video, like, and he just got like, it went viral and he got hired. I mean, you don't have to be that extreme, but even like pitching like a solid idea where you're like, hey, you guys don't currently do this. I have this idea. This is how it would work. And there's no harm in doing it. Like the worst case scenario is they just say, oh, unfortunately we don't have any opportunities, but at least you've kind of put yourself out there and increase your chance of getting to an industry you want to get into.
Definitely.
Shoot that shot.
Definitely. Yeah. It's so important.
You got and take those like career risks. Like if you, and as I said, like I have been lucky enough to be in the opportunities where I've been able to take those risks. We've had like family to support me. I know not everyone has that. And, you have to probably be a little bit more cautious in those situations. But if an opportunity arises, and even if you're like a little bit nervous, I don't think I have the skills for this, if they're offering it to you, just do it. Because they've already decided that you do. So even if you don't have, good like professional self-esteem, that you don't need it. They've said that that they want you, so you do it.
Yeah.
I had this problem at the start of my career when I was like nervous, and now I just go for everything.
That's the way to be. That is. I'm with you.
For sure.
What games do you guys play? What are your kind of? I know I've played League with Celine.
Yeah.
I'm not a big gamer. I like the most I play is like Animal Crossing, and
hey, it's a game. I consider if you play video games, you're a gamer. That's the way I look at it.
Okay, cool. So I play Animal Crossing. I really like playing that. I play like Mario Kart and stuff like that.
That OG games.
I love that game.
Mario Kart is just like, it's classic. It's just always good. I think that for Super Smash Brothers as well. Like,
I want to play that one. That one's a really good one. I have a Switch, and like I bought it at the start of COVID, so I've been like trying to get into more games. So please give me some recommendations.
I think can you get Jackbox on Switch now?
I think you can.
Yeah, I think I played it. Have you played Jackbox before?
That really is a good, very fun party game.
Yeah, so obviously maybe don't have big parties during COVID, disclaimer. But yeah, you can do stuff where you like, you can do it like Discord's really good. You can like stream it, or even if you have like, if you're at home with family, or you have friends that are like in this close vicinity that are safe. I'm not going to recommend doing this because I think you do have to be very careful because you don't want to get your friends and family sick. But there are ways to do that remotely. That's what I've basically done.
Cool.
That's really good. I think all the Mario games are really fun.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
like
I think
Mario Party and stuff like that.
Oh my god, I love those games. Yeah. I miss like being able to like invite like a whole lot of people around and like mess around with like a concept.
I also recently started playing on my Switch as well. Do you guys remember Roller Coaster Tycoon?
Love those
games.
Yeah, I saw it in the Epic Games Store. I actually downloaded it and then I realized, this is like time consuming.
I did the same thing. I just started getting back into it, but when I originally like bought it, I was like, oh my god, I do not have the time to like do this. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's because it's like, I mean, I've already got to manage my own life. I can't manage a whole theme park.
They're not even paying you.
Yeah,
that's what I get with Animal Crossing too. I'm like, why am I spending so much time doing this? But
I think video games is a balance. I think that's a good you don't. I used to just play them because I couldn't be bothered thinking of anything else to do, but I think it's important to like make sure that you do something that's like fulfilling, that like helps move your life forward, but then you can play games in your alone time. That it doesn't, I work a ton of hours studying, and I still find time to play games. Like, you don't have to sacrifice your gaming completely. But I do think like it's very easy to fall into the habit. And I was a bit like this in college, to be honest, where I played World of Warcraft, where things took a backseat to my gaming. And that's when it's like not a good thing to do. It should be a complementary to your life. It shouldn't be your life. And even if you work in it, you still like, you need to be able to like do other things. It's hard during COVID. So if it's the matter of like being safe, and that's fine. But if you're in school, or you may be looking for jobs, like set yourself some like goals to complete during the day, and then the gaming's the reward. That would be the only thing I would say, like just to make sure you balance your time.
I think everything in life needs a balance, so definitely.
For sure. I definitely had moments where it wasn't balanced, and I mean, you just end up feeling
it happens.
Well, even like I played when I was playing Dota a lot, even when I was on like holidays, like on vacation, or it's like the university break, and I would play I can play games for hours. Like maybe I'll play like 10 hours straight, but you just feel worse. Like those kind of games that are really hyper competitive, you can't play for too long, because your brain is like constantly thinking. It's not relaxing. Right. I think if you're doing like an RPG, or like you're like messing around, but these games are and so I was finding myself really fatigued, because I was like having to concentrate, but I wasn't really accomplishing anything during the day, and I was just getting frustrated. And so like balancing that out, I got a much better grip on it now, but yeah.
Sorry, Edward's here. I'm like, I hope it's not coming through.
No, it's been good.
He just rubs himself on everything on my desk, so it's like
cat. Yeah, they need screen time. Cats need screen time.
They do. They really.
Yeah.
Have you seen the movie Cats, by the way? I'm like dying to see it.
I haven't.
No one wants to watch it with me.
I feel like I have to be like pretty stoned to go into it, because I'm just gonna be like, I don't know if I'd be able to handle that.
I know what I'm doing today.
I feel like I really want to see it, but it's like not one person has said like it's even close to being enjoyable, and it's like most people said like they've had to try and turn it off at like halfway point.
Is it on? I wonder where it's streaming.
Is it on Hulu? I think it's on Hulu, or maybe HBO Max. Oh, HBO Max, I think's got it.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, if it's on Amazon, I'm definitely down to do a streaming party.
Oh my god, I would be so into that. It's
I'll watch
all right. I'll have to schedule one, because I need to watch some people to watch it with.
I'm so down.
I'm sick of not seeing it.
Go 3, 2, 1, press play, and we'll suffer.
I feel like if you have people, like it's the kind of movie that you can literally talk through, and you're not going to miss anything. Apparently, it makes no sense anyway.
I mean,
it's just weird, like the costumes. I think the weirdest part is apparently it wasn't even a good. It wasn't even like, a lot of people didn't like the stage show. Like it's a very obscure stage.
I hate this show. I'm a theater nerd too.
My sister saw it a couple of years ago, and she said it was the scariest thing she ever saw. And we would seen a handful of really good shows, and she was like, it was horrible. She was like, it was so scary.
What's the best stage show you guys have seen?
I've seen a lot. I think Wicked, just for sentimental reasons. It's just a good show, and it's like the last show I got to see with my grandma. So it's like for emotional reasons, it's that, and plus it's just phenomenal. It's such a great show.
I haven't seen it. I really want to see Wicked. Really? Yeah, that's definitely on pretty high on my list. What else have you got?
I saw A Bronx Tale on Broadway, and it was phenomenal. It was.
I've never seen that.
Really
What's it about?
It's it's based off a movie, and it's just about this guy falling in love with this girl, which is classic. It was just great.
We all like a little bit of romance.
And I mean, I would say my other favorite was Aladdin. I saw Aladdin years ago, and it was so good.
Yeah, I heard that as well.
I really don't even think I was very into that movie. I was a child, but the Broadway show was amazing.
I
The
feel like
music's so
honestly,
good.
yeah, I feel like some of those shows would just be much better on stage anyway.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to see Lion King.
Oh
Yeah.
But I think my favorite I saw I think I must have been like 15, maybe 14. And my parents took me and a friend. So we had a family friend that works at the Victorian Opera, and he works in like the props division, and used to get like a lot of like tickets to events and stuff like that. And although I think we paid for this one, so this is cancel that. Anyway, I saw Sweeney Todd, the opera,
That was
like opera,
so good.
and it was just. I mean, I love the story. It was quite gruesome. So I was like a young dude. So I thought it was amazing. Like even like I never watched an opera before that. I'd never seen one. And I really got into it. Like it's an easy story to follow as well. And the set like was insane. Like they had it was a 2-layer set. And then on the top layer, they had the barber chair. I don't know if you know the story of Sweeney Todd, but it's about like a barber that used to like kill people, and then they went down a chute, and then a lady made him into pies. There was a bit more to the story than that, but that's the main thing.
That's the gist. Yeah.
Yeah, it's no spoiler alert because that's like a really basic concept. It's more about how the story goes apart from that. But yeah, the set was like the second story was like the barber chair, and so they would do like he would like slit the throat, and then they would have like I don't know like a bit of fabric that represented blood, and then like hit a button, and then the person would like slide down a chute into this like underground like that. It almost looked like a bakery thing with like an oven, and it was just like it was quite graphic, but in such like an artistic way that I was like, yeah, it was really good. And like the singers and the performers were so good. The set design was amazing. So that was like one of my favorite ones. I really want to see Hamilton as well. I've only seen
Hamilton's so good.
Yeah, I know. I had I knew someone that went and saw the actual like with the full cast. And I was like, so
Oh my
jealous.
gosh. How'd they get tickets? That was like so cutthroat for the longest.
A lot of money. They spent a lot of money.
That's fair.
They'd already like really enjoyed the the album. They bought the album. They'd listened to every song, and they're like, I'm just gonna bite the bullet and just go and like pay a lot of money because it's gonna be once the casts are separated, they're not doing it again. So
Yeah. Yeah, that one's a good one. I think I've only watched it like once or twice on Disney Plus though, because it was like so good, and I'm like, I don't want to like watch it again and then like my memory of it be ruined. Like
yeah, I don't tend to overwatch stuff. I'll like watch most things like once, maybe twice, and then I'll just like hold on to the fond memory and then maybe like revisit it like years later. But
exactly for nostalgia reasons. But
yeah.
because I tend to do that with music too, where I will go in and listen to something and then I listen to it over and over and over again, and then I'm like, okay, I kind of don't like this anymore, so I try not to do that anymore.
I do the same thing.
Speaking of music, who are you listening to right now? What are you listening to?
Oh, I have a terrible taste in music. Eject. I like the poppiest of pop stuff. I like, okay, there's a mix. So I love pop punk stuff. Like
Dani just
that's music to my ears. I'm like,
yeah, but like the poppiest of stuff. So I mean, I in my like teens and stuff, I listened to like a lot of like Fall Out Boy, Panic, Paramore, and then just like random songs from like random artists, like some Yellow Card stuffs, and like because my brothers like that. But then I also really like 90s gangster rap because that's what my brothers were listening to. So I like a lot of like the Tupac, Biggie stuff. And then I like some more like hardcore stuff, like System of a Down. I really enjoy. Lately, I've really it's two people that I've been listening to a lot, and this is kind of embarrassing. So one's Kid Lowry.
I just covered him for like
I really like his voice. I kind of love that like depressed. I feel like that's the modern day pop punk kind of because that like depressing hip hoppy kind of thing. But he's really good. Like he's an Aussie dude as well and super young. So obviously you know all this. But I just really liked his style, and I liked I don't know. It's just it's kind of depressing music, but it's easy to listen to. So when I'm working, it's not like it doesn't require me to like really want to listen to like how like in depth the music is. And then the other album I really like at the moment, which I'm ashamed to say, is what is that guy's name? I'm just going blank. He used to rap Machine Gun Kelly.
Oh, that's Dani's baby.
I don't know why. I knew you were gonna say that when you said you were ashamed to say it. Like I knew that was coming, but I love.
Well, because I like Eminem, and there was that whole beef thing, and like Eminem was like a big part of like growing up as well. So
I have this humongous poster of him right here. Yeah, I love him.
Is that why you've like blurred out the background so no one can see that you're a Machine Gun Kelly?
No one see the shame.
I look. I'm not honestly. I it was more like the shame was just more like because he probably still like is a rapper technically, but I don't like his rap music, but I do like his like kind of poppy punk music.
Yeah, I loved it. I usually am the one to bring this up every single episode, so I'm glad.
Yes, I did it for you. What an assist!
You came in with the assist.
But yeah, I loved that album too. I mean, I liked his rap stuff too. I like Eminem too, and I think their beef was silly, but I think he really killed it with his last album. I love it a lot.
Tickets to My Downfall is so good.
Yeah, it definitely gave me a it was a bit a reminiscence of like the
it had that like 90s alternative pop punk sound, and I loved that.
And they were all short songs and stuff. Like they weren't like really long drawn out songs. They were just kind of like straight to the point, super catchy, like chorus, like that were like fun. It might have been like some might have been like a bit depressing, whatever, but it was like it's always like easy to listen to, and you can kind of just depending on what your mood is, there's always like a song in that genre for you to like listen to. But I honestly think he did a pretty good job with that, and that's kind of like my style of music, so I couldn't be like I can't trash him. I'm like I guess I'm technically kind of a fan now. So I'm gone red. This is red as I go.
Well, I was gonna mention like I know you also love Selena Gomez.
Oh yeah, that's my secret. That's my secret.
That's what I was like also kind of waiting for when you said I'm embarrassed to say it. I thought it was definitely going to be like.
Oh my god, I love Selena Gomez. I went and saw her in concert in Australia with a friend, and she's like my like super crush. I would marry her.
If we ever interview her, we'll say that you're representing the Honey Pop. We will do you the solid.
If you ever interview her, I'm just like flying to wherever you interview her from. I think for me, like a big thing, I think her music's okay. I just like anyone that's like generally a positive influence. Like that, like you'll always like win brownie points, and I'll always be more open to listening to music from someone maybe poppy or that I don't, if I think they have like good morals or and I think she does a pretty good job of raising issues on like medical issues and like raising awareness and being generally, I think, a good example to the community. Whether she's nice in person or whatever, who knows? And you never know with celebrities because they're also performers, and it's just part of what they do. But I think like anyone that at least like publicly does something to try and make a difference past earning like cash, I think that's like respectable. So that's why I'm in love with her, and so if she's listening. No, I'm just joking.
She's listening.
To like radiate that positive energy. I agree with that.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of like what celebrities like. I don't turn to celebrities for political advice and like voting and stuff. I think it's always important to like you do that stuff yourself, even though they'll always push on gender. But I think there are some things outside of like social issues and stuff like that I think you can,
Our dog spit up, so I need to take care of that.
Oh my god, my dog's crazy.
I know, so is mine. He's actually in his kennel right now because he cannot behave when I'm on these calls.
Yeah, mine's with a friend. He'll be like sitting nervously on the lap because he gets like separation anxiety. And so like I've just moved, and so he's really kind of unsettled at the moment, and like really wants to be around me the whole time. So I have to like make sure he's like okay and not panicking. So my friend will just be like, I bet he's on the couch, just been this whole call, just like patting him like ferociously, trying to get Odin to relax.
Mine does this thing where he will whine until like I pet him, and he'll stop, and then if I stop petting him, he'll start whining again. He's ridiculous.
Needy, but dogs are so worth it if you've got the capacity to look after them. They are a life. They're a commitment for the entirety of their life. They're also they can be like a little bit expensive.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially like I adopted mine, so like another life lesson. I'm full of life lessons today. But like don't adopt unless you have, even though it's a good thing to do, and if you have the capacity, you should do it. But don't do it if you don't, you don't think you're going to be able to, do it for the entirety of their lives, because it's cruel to like, move them around and switch owners, because they get attached, and especially if they're from a shelter, like they already have abandonment issues. So.
And then like I feel when you adopt as well, which I also adopted, you never know what kind of like
sorry, she needed pets.
you know, what kind of like ailments they're gonna come with. Like that's or like when I first got my puppy, I spent like over like $500 on him at the vet because he was so sick and like had all this stuff wrong with him that like they didn't tell me about, and like it was worth it. I mean, like he's super healthy and great now, but like it's definitely
it's a lot of money. I think that's something these dogs, they may have something medical wrong. They might have something that's undetected as well. My dog had been hit by a car, and so he lost his eye. It makes him so cute though.
I love it.
Yeah, he's a troll. He's a little crazy dude, but he's kind of like me, so it all makes sense.
Your bestie.
But he didn't have medical issues, which was lucky, but he has a lot of mental health issues, like the separation. He gets really if he sees another dog, he just wants to like run at it, but then if he's close to a dog, he just freaks out. So like a lot of what he used to, I've done a lot of like training, like discipline training, like grabbing his attention back. So, if English and I paid some like quite a lot of money to have a trainer come and help me with that, because it was worth it, but it is expensive. And like, I wouldn't have been able to even walk him outside basically when I was living in Los Angeles if I didn't pay the money. So it is like, there are like costs involved that you don't know, but I think, it's, when you love your dog and you care about them, it's like the cost is like worth it.
Oh, worth every penny.
Yeah.
Even with my cats, like anything they need, I'm jumping to it. Like
even though they don't love you, because cats are the worst. No, I'm just joking.
I love my cats. They're so needy though. Edward's like my best friend in the world. I love this girl too though. She's new.
So pretty.
She's so cute. Isn't
she tired?
Oh my god.
Yeah, she is.
Such a puppy.
You can tell the eyes are just like glazed over.
Yeah,
like,
all she does is cuddle and sleep.
Hey, that's a good life.
He did that too.
Yeah.
I'm like,
and now
ready.
He's the devil.
Yeah.
That is so precious. But yeah, she is a good girl. Her name's Ellie.
She looks so soft.
She does.
She is. We gave.
You can tell, like with the hairs, like over the collar, they just look like they're really soft, like baby dog hairs.
Yeah, she's so soft and so sweet.
Oh my goodness, she looks like she's gonna be a big girl.
We don't know because they don't know who her parents are. So they think she's an Aussie mix, but they aren't sure. So we'll see.
What's the accent like? I'll tell you.
Okay, let's go.
I'm listening.
Oh, she sounds just like you.
Oh yeah. Good day, mate.
Good day. Good day.
That's cute. Yeah, I think it's always worth it. Putting in the effort. Dogs are great. Yeah. They're really good, but they're definitely time consuming. That's for sure. I'm lucky I work remote, and
Same.
And my dog's 8 pounds, so I can I've flown with him before. It's like really easy.
Just sit on your lap.
He's meant to sit under the seat, but I always sneak him out. Sorry, American Airlines, who I keep flying with.
That's funny. So how has the transition been from to working from home because of the virus and stuff? Like, how's that been for you?
It definitely was interesting. I'm like someone that loves a balance of in-person contact and then complete isolation. So it's felt weird because I do really like working from home and kind of being alone and just locking myself in a room. However, it's definitely, you realize how much you miss physical contact and even just being able to talk to someone face to face and occasionally I lived in a pretty high traffic area in Los Angeles. I just moved to Texas, so that's why I'm talking about LA's in the past. But it was you'd stop and talk to someone in the street. You'd be so far away, both have masks on, but even that felt amazing. And so I was oh man, if that's like feels like a good interaction, like I know now that I'm actually missing like, you know, being in an office. But I think as a company, you have to just make sure that everyone is really transparent and communicating a lot, for sure.
Yeah.
Because there's things that like, you know, and also you have to be available for your team members, because, you know, if I want to message someone, or like if I was in an office environment and I need to ask someone something, I could just walk over to their desk.
Yeah.
But like now I have to ping them with a message, and I don't know if they're like, are they having lunch? Are they, you know, have they like walked in their dog? And so like, I mean, you don't have to check in because you don't want to be like crazy like that. But, you know, with the people you directly work with, like I'm really open. I'm like, hey, I'm just heading out for like 5 minutes. That way, like they know. But plus, you know, if I need to run to the shops or something, I've got like Slack on my phone, which is like Discord for corporate people,
work.
I guess.
I love Slack.
Yeah. I think people usually say Discord is like, but it is good. Like Slack's good, but yeah. And so I think it's been fun. I really enjoyed it. I think, you know, my job is like completely fine online. You know, we're a technology company, but I do miss like, you know, hanging out with people for sure. You know, the bond that you create with your like work colleagues, it's a lot harder to do over calls. You know, you end up just calling them really just for like business. You're like, you don't have lunch with them and stuff like that where you normally connect. So
Definitely.
It's been good. I'm grateful. It's, you know, it's allowed me to like move cities as well. So that's kind of fun as well.
Yeah, moving to Texas from Los Angeles, that's a big move. Like, when did that happen?
2 weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah, I basically was LA is really expensive. I don't know if anyone's lived out there. And it's insanely overly populated. And I just kind of like decided that, you know, it doesn't really make a lot of sense while I'm working remote. And so, you know, me and my dog, we just moved out here, and we're having a good time. And I think Texas, you know, I visited a friend for Christmas because I don't have any family in the States. And so, and I just like love the area, and the people are really polite here and stuff. And it is a lot cheaper. So I thought, why not? You know, I'm an adventurer.
Might as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Might as well get like a cowboy hat to live the whole Texas dream.
Yeah. I feel like some of those hats look so expensive. They must be like,
I bet they
like,
are.
oh yeah. There's like, I mean, to be honest, I'm like just moving to like downtown Dallas, and there's not really many like stereotypical Texans there. There's a lot of like, you know, young professionals, like there's like a college down there, and so like I never really see like cowboy hats, but I might start repping one, see how I go.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that. That is cool. I heard Dallas is like a pretty cool area too, like a lot of history and like a lot of cool stuff going on there.
Yeah,
it is nice. It's really worth checking out. It reminded me more of like home, like where I'm from, like city Melbourne. It's like it's still busy. There's a lot of people there, but it doesn't feel busy. So like even if you're in traffic in LA, it feels busy. Like the energy of that city is so intense, and people are all hustling because it's so expensive. Like my rent here, I was splitting a 1-bedroom apartment with a previous partner, and it was like $950 a month was half of the rent for a 1-bedroom in LA. I'm paying $950 for a full 1-bedroom here in Texas. So it's like, that kind of difference is just already insane. And then there's like no state income tax and stuff like that. So, I mean, I don't want to bore you with like the details of it.
I think this stuff is interesting because I used to live in Los Angeles. Now I'm in Arizona for the same reason. That's like significantly cheaper. So it's like, I feel that it's, and now when I go back to LA, I'm just like, this stuff is overwhelming. Like it's so busy all the time. There's always like a million things going on. The craziest of people are in LA. And so it's like, it's definitely nice to kind of get away.
Well, it's everyone, you know, it's so expensive and everyone's like hustling. They all need like, you know, people have 3 jobs, they have like side projects, you know, they want like, you know, half the people, you know, are trying to find the next best thing, like the next cooler person to hang with. Like, it's just like a really kind of like, it's not like a it's a competitive environment, even when it's not a competitive stuff. And I think the people that I've ended up surrounding myself with, and there's a lot of esports people, which are awesome. But there is like people outside of esports that I met that are like, I mean, they're working so hard, like just to kind of like survive in that city. So you have to kind of look after yourself, and that's the kind of attitude everyone has. And, you know, I don't want my friends, I want to look after my friends, and I want my friends to want to look after me, whether we need to do it or not. It doesn't matter. It's more just like that feeling is like of what a friendship is. Like you want your friends to succeed, and they should want you to succeed. And I feel like LA doesn't quite have that. It's more about like everyone trying to succeed for themselves, because it is so like competitive, and people often move there for like a reason, whether it's like, you know, film or like acting or like music, and that they're all like hyper competitive.
Definitely. It's funny though, because like the more like I talk to people in Arizona, I'm sure it's the same in Texas, because I have a few friends who moved there. It's like everyone's coming from California, so it's like unless you're like going into those fields, it's like you're going to the surrounding states, which is funny.
Especially because you can't do anything now, like, you know, with lockdown. It's just so like it's so dense, so you feel like claustrophobic in that city right now. And I mean, half the people are like trying really hard to quarantine, and you got like the influencers that are having like parties and stuff, and it's just like I'm over this.
It's so frustrating to see. It's like,
especially because I like locked myself in a house for like how many months,
right?
That's kind of how I was. Like, we were at the beginning of lockdown, we were super strict, and then we still got it, so it sucks. But I mean, like,
it's
we're still strict, but
it's just, you've just got to be careful, and you got to like have your wits about you, but there's not like, that's still not going to guarantee it. You know, I've been lucky enough, touch wood, to not have it. But like, you know, that doesn't mean I can't get it in the future. And so it's like, whenever I do anything, I'm just like, I'll bring hand sanitizer and like wearing a mask. Like, I'm trying, if I don't need to be next to someone, I will not. Right. Sometimes you kind of get in situations where you don't have a choice, but like for the most part, just gotta be careful.
Definitely it's important. I think we went through all the questions I had.
Cool. Do I get a grade at the end? A plus?
A plus.
You got an S.
S, yeah. You gotta get the League of Legends rating for sure.
Oh.
Definitely.
What does S mean?
It's like above A.
Oh, cool. Okay.
I honestly doesn't stand for anything. This might be a really dumb question, and I should know this, but like you can, in like League, you can get S plus, S minus, A plus, and then it like goes down. But it's like to get in the S range is like quite difficult. You have to really perform insane in a game, but I'm not sure that I gave an S performance today because I don't have a cool background, but
you did.
No, you are good.
We'll give you an S. You can have it.
This is not even where I really am.
He changes it. He's like,
I'm sorry, the cool background did not work out for you.
Oh, I mean, I didn't want people to look at me and I had like a box head.
It literally was like, I'm kind of like on the same boat though because of my background, but it's cool.
Oh, do you have a gaming chair?
Yeah, I do. It's not loading right now, but it's there. But yeah, I think we're good to wrap it up.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate the chat. Appreciate the cool questions, and I hope people check out ESports One if you're new to League of Legends, or you've played fantasy before and you're not really sure about esports. Jump onto our Discord. It's discord.gg/E1. The letter E and the number 1. And you can reach out. I'm Jonny. I think I'm there, Jonny the Aussie. But it's a good thing to kind of get you into esports because it gives you can start learning players' names. It's like an easy introduction. Plus, there's like a whole lot of community members.
Yeah.
But if you already like League, you can just sign up for an account and just play, without even meeting me. And it's fantasy.esports1.com.
Yes,
we'll
put it on the screen for everyone and in the description for you.
Like and sub below.
Like and sub. But thank you so much, Jonny.
I don't know what post-production is going to do, but
We'll just have arrows like going everywhere.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hopefully you don't have to like mimic that. Like,
That would be hilarious.
I do appreciate you having me. It was really fun to have a chat, and I always love talking esports and just gossiping. It's nice to like have some chats, some good conversations with people during like a weird time. So
Yes, definitely.
that's for sure.
Well,
We'll have to play
thank you
some.
very much too, and we'll have to bring you back on too.
Oh yeah, I
Yes.
love it. I'll help you interview
try out
someone.
these
I'll help you interview Selena.
Yes, we'll get you. For Selena, we'll have you pop in.
Yeah. Oh hey.
Yeah.
Like slide in.
He comes in a full suit. Just like, hey.
I was gonna say a dressing gown robe. Like I don't know. I'm a weirdo. I don't know. Anyway.
Perfect.
Yes.
Thanks again. Appreciate it.
Of course. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.